Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name is Sean Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 50 to 60 minutes discussing the use of critical illness programs within your agency to both grow your income, obviously, but also address specific needs of your prospects and clients. Today's program is being recorded and will be made available on our website at premiersmi.com in our video library and on our YouTube channel as well. Additionally, your marketer with Premier Marketing, your agent success manager, will have the link as well. You'll notice in the software package that there's a section for both questions and chat. We ask that you put your questions in the questions box. We find we normally address all questions, or the majority of them anyway, through the course of the presentation, but we want to make certain that we address any of the inquiries that you have to make certain that you receive full return on the investment of your time with us here today. We offer these programs to a variety of agent backgrounds. And by that I mean, we'll have agents that need something a tad more remedial because this is new to them. Some folks where it's a welcome review. And then of course, there are folks that say, hey, I know kind of a bunch of this stuff, but there may be new detail in there. So we want to make certain everyone's aware of the fact that we go through a lot of the presentation at different levels of experience. And one of the first things we do is set about who we are, because I recognize many names on the presentation today. There are some I don't. Premier itself is a national marketing organization founded in 1968. That's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We're licensed in all 50 states. We act as an insurance wholesaler working through independent insurance agents such as yourself through contracts that are at the highest possible commission levels, and there are recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. We offer a portfolio of products that are aimed at specific parts of the insurance market, and that includes an emphasis on the Medicare programs, the base medical programs such as Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement programs, and the standalone Part D prescription drug plans, but also a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense and pre-need plans, but also long and short-term care programs, disability income plans, and ancillary benefits in different categories, much as what we'll discuss today. When you look at Medicare Advantage plans, national carriers are there for you for your use through our organization, in addition to some of the strong regionals that have a bearing in your particular market. And that same philosophy carries over into prescription drug plans. Well, let's face it, the majority of these are part of your MA contract anyway. A couple of notable exceptions on this list. Mutual of Omaha is a separate contracting process from any of their other product that they offer. And CleverRx is actually a discount program and not a standalone Part D prescription drug plan. When we look at the Medicare supplements, we have a huge variety of programs and different marketing incentives and support that can make you successful in this space. Many folks will come on a presentation like today and they'll look at critical illness or hospital indemnity plans or whatever it happens to be as, hey, that goes along with Medicare Advantage plans. In many cases, it fits even better with Medicare supplements. So let's keep that in mind, because when we look at these ancillary products, such as what we'll discuss today, we're looking at the national leaders in each category and an opportunity to address specific needs of our prospects and clients. And so today's discussion has to do with working through the different critical illness and cancer plans that we have available. So when we look at the Medicare market overall, we have an opportunity to take advantage of that aging of the baby boomers, the silver tsunami, 1 every 10 seconds, 10,000 plus a day when you look at people aging in. But what we're finding is some folks that have the opportunity to access Medicare at 65 or whatever age may be deferring it because of one reason or another. And that will take that number down a little bit, but it's pumped back up pretty quickly when we look at the number of people under the age of 65 that are accessing Medicare benefits because of a disability. So we have a very robust market to, and we got to keep in mind that when we're looking at the sheer number of people in Medicare, 65 million plus, it's not the only market for critical illness plans, because these go to ages well below the age of 65, most of them down to around 18. So we have a very large market in addition to what we usually look at in the Medicare space. And when we do that in the Medicare space, we're looking at people that have choices. They don't have to do anything. They can defer Part B if they wanted to, and some do for a good reason, as we noted a slide or two earlier. But folks that have Medicare or have the traditional Medicare delivery system will look for help in different areas. They'll pick up a drug plan to help with medication costs. They may look at a standardized, modernized Medicare supplement to help with the medical cost and pick up a Part D plan, or they may look at the folks that have a bundled package of benefits available to them through Part C or Medicare Advantage plans. In each category, critical illness programs are a very viable option to market, because in each of these areas, as it is a fee-for-service program that pays in addition to any other coverage they have available or are utilizing, it can make a huge difference when they encounter the illnesses that come into play under a critical illness program. And what it does also is it gives us an opportunity to go back to the folks that haven't done an annual review. And as we go through and we discuss different packages with these individuals, keep in mind, we have to be careful about how we speak about Medicare benefits if we're just marketing CI programs alone, critical illness programs alone, because they're regulated differently. But we're normally talking about other benefits within the Medicare spectrum. So we want to make certain that we do what we need to do to remain compliant as well, regardless of what their base program may be. And let's face it, most folks on Medicare aren't taking advantage of the tools the government puts in play to help them gather information on programs. So they have information at their fingertips. It may be in a mode that they don't want to read through 150 pages of whatever. They aren't necessarily utilizing that Medicare and U book, be it virtually delivered to them or in their mailbox. A lot of them aren't downloading an app that tells them what is covered and what is not. They're not even utilizing some of the wonderful videos, frankly, that the government puts out there about Medicare and the different programs that are available to them. So if we have the opportunity to deliver the information on additional coverages through electronic means, we're way ahead of the game. We, of course, can do this in person as well, but many times this is a virtual add-on to some of the folks that we've already done business with and to folks that are looking for specific additional coverages. So if someone raises their hand for dental coverage, that gives you the opportunity to say, well, hey, that's great. Let's go through the programs, work with them and satisfy that need, and then roll into, and by the way, we've got other programs that pay on top of any other coverage you have. Specifically of interest to many folks are the critical illness programs that deal with people that have had strokes or they're dealing with diabetes or whatever the situation may be. That gives us the opportunity to speak to a population that's increasingly comfortable with receiving information electronically. That makes certain that we can ratify or be notified of the delivery of that information. It gives us the opportunity to maximize our valuable resource of our time as well, because these folks, let's face it, when pandemic hit, it's how you saw your doctor, it's how you saw your specialist, that's how you did a bunch of prelim work for hospital or dental coverages if you needed to. It even affected other portions of our life as to how we celebrate our faith. So folks are very comfortable, or increasingly comfortable, in receiving information in this fashion. And we can translate that information because we have access to an acronym guide provided by CMS. It's out there for everyone to use. But as we demonstrated earlier, the folks we're talking about, it's a small percentage of them that go on and do their homework anyway when it comes to the overall package of benefits that they're looking for. And if they do, they don't necessarily understand the language. Let's just pull straight off the CMS's website. It's got a listing of 4,420 acronyms. That gives us the opportunity to be that source of truth, but it also gives us that opportunity to remember that if we use an acronym, we define it, or we minimize the use in order to communicate properly with our audience. What we see in the standard election periods don't apply to critical illness plans. They're not regulated like a Medicare Advantage or some of the prohibitions we have on selling or how we sell with Medicare supplement plans either. So these different pieces aren't applicable to us in this area because the SEPs don't matter, the special election periods, when we deal with these ancillary programs, even the special election periods. So we want to make certain that we're able to operate in this new normal, and we realize that a whole bunch of the folks that we deal with contact patients through video. And so that gives us an opportunity for us to further inject ourselves into this delivery system by having information available to deliver electronically. Because in each of these categories, you see how many people are becoming increasingly dependent, in a manner of speaking, of doing some things virtually. So when we look at critical illness programs overall, we're looking at a number of maladies that affect the population that we service. And when you look at the adults 65 plus, so the majority of people that are on Medicare, we're looking at people that are affected very commonly by a lot of these chronic conditions. We also then have other people in that household that are, pardon me, some interruptions going on there, that are affected by other people having these conditions. So they're aware of some of the expenses that come into play and how we need to plan for those circumstances moving forward. So what do we look at as some of the common critical illnesses that will trigger a perceived need for additional coverages? Well, first thing that pops up is the cancer plans. You ask any household if they know of anyone that's on cancer, that have had cancer, I should say, on cancer. They are people that are, many cases, former cancer or might be cancer survivors themselves. Are they eligible for some of these programs? Well, it depends upon how far out in many circumstances, but it has all sorts of additional costs in addition to the medical coverages or the medical needs that come into play. So these plans pay on top of everything else, and the number of folks that are diagnosed with cancer each and every year just really is phenomenal. Just, you kind of go, wow, 60% of cancer patients are 65 and older. Well, we get ahead of the cause with some of these programs. And even though it may be a leading cause of death, there may be death benefit available through other programs, but there are an incredible number of people who survive and have to deal with the ramifications thereafter. And they need help because all of a sudden, that's not a medical expense. How do we take care of them? So we want to look at the balance of power when it comes to payment for cancer insurance. What are the person's income? And then what are some of the costs of these services? Because I got to tell you, it can be huge. And for people that are going ongoing with it, the medication costs can be out of sight. You also have to look at some of the other things that come into play. You got travel to both areas where an individual is being taken care of, or it may be family that comes in to caregive thereafter or be there when the person is undergoing treatment. You also have to take into account that when a person is being treated for cancer, well, in many cases, they lose income because they can't work. So we want to look at other factors that go beyond, gee, what's it cost to get a bone scan? What's it cost to get a bone biopsy? Trust me, those aren't any fun. How can we handle some of these major expenses? It gives them then additional pressures on everyday living. None of this is covered by medical insurance. It's all a viable cost. And if we can do something to help them with these different costs, we're way ahead of the game, and so are they, because it's a lot of money, plain and simple. You look at folks that have made that choice to assume responsibility financially for what Medicare doesn't cover. So they've got just A and B. Look at what that can be when it comes to cost. They're going to pay 20% for chemotherapy, and then there's no stop loss on it. And they have to pay that Part B deductible. So it can be a major hit for these individuals specifically, and for others that have other coverages because of all of those other expenses that come into play. Some of the other things that we see when it comes to critical illness is the heart attack and stroke possibilities. Now, we speak to the fact that cardiovascular programs, or cardiovascular maladies, I should say, are a large percentage of cause of death within our population. We get caught up in that number sometimes. We got to look at the people that survive those incidents and the expenses they have thereafter. Because I don't mean to be brusque about it, but it doesn't kill everybody. Some people have to live with the ramifications thereafter. You also see some folks that are in need of help because of diabetic status or other critical illnesses that can come into play. Heart disease, I mentioned this. Leading cause of death for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the United States. One person dies every 37 seconds. 1 in 4 deaths. Huge amount of money that comes into play because of it in these different circumstances that deal with our ticker in the plumbing, so to speak. It speaks so much to death, these statistics. Take those numbers and extrapolate out what they are from the base population that's affected by these, the people that have to live with it on an ongoing basis. So those are some of the people that can make a huge difference. And when you speak to people in a household, you may be speaking to a couple where one's had a stroke and they still have side effects. They're dealing with it. Can you get them these coverages in? Well, you can't insure a house once it's on fire, but other people are made very aware of the cost of those situations. And it gives us a huge advantage in discussing these programs because people really see the need when they're in that circumstance. And heart attacks. 1 in every 5 heart attacks is silent. Damage is done, but the person's not aware of it. A lot of it will be right when you get up in the morning. And those that have a heart attack are more likely to have a second as well, because many times the one they're aware of is the second one because they weren't aware of the first one that came into play. It does a number of things for us as agents when we speak to these programs. One, it's going to help us retain the folks we visit with, because studies show the more product we have in the house, the more persistent the business across the board. Doesn't have to be with the same company, just has to be with the same agent, and that's you. And it differentiates you from your competitors because you're looking to address the different needs that are out there. It's the old Pepe Le Pew image that's not politically correct in many circumstances now, but speaks to you never get kissed if you don't ask. It does make a huge impact on our income and the viability of our agencies, because if you make just one sale a week with these, and sometimes it's as simple as asking a question, whom do you have your cancer insurance with? One sale can make a difference into paying some of our regularly slated bills, freeing up income for whatever else you feel is necessary for it. And your clients need this coverage. They have the need for what we want to do and how this will take care of them moving forward. So when we look at these specific categories that we have available to us through Premier Marketing, you've got a grand selection in each of the areas. And in many cases, the carrier will have a program that will transition you from one of their product to another. So selling these can be very simple with a carrier system, not to mention what we'll talk about in just a bit as to the systems we have available to our agents. And that's this. It's the Medicare Center program, where it's available without cost to contracted agents, universal login to multiple quoting engines, including those that will speak to CI and cancer and dental and some of the other quotes that are necessary. Because those are done outside of a pure Medicare purview, some of these aren't as big of a factor as if we're discussing Medicare Supplements, PDP plans, MA plans, where we want to make certain that we're collecting that scope and we're recording the call, and we're doing so for that 10-year period. That is taken care of through this system. It gives us the opportunity to send out side-by-side plan comparisons. So that can go beyond Med Subs and PDP plans and Medicare Advantage plans, because we can do that with critical illness programs as well. It also gives us the opportunity to take advantage of that complimentary Pearl, that free personal URL that gives you a presence on the internet, and it's through programs that you offer. You set it up as to these are the plans that are available through this system. And when a person goes there and shops, because I mentioned some people aren't doing comparisons, but those that are doing some homework ahead of time. This gives you the opportunity to utilize your microsite as that source of information. And if the person decides to, well, hey, I'm going to enroll right here and now, they can do so. You get credit for it. It's your client, it's your commission. The program also comes with a contact management system, a CRM for you to use. And so that helps us not just with the year-over-year reviews on the Medicare programs, but it gives us an opportunity to go throughout the year and touch the folks that we visited with in the past on additional coverages that are available to them. And that might be as simple as rolling through a call campaign with them and say, hey, I thank you for trusting me with your base coverage or whatever the coverage may be that you have with them. Or if they didn't buy from you, I thank you for the opportunity to discuss the different programs. I wanted to lay out information to you that helps with certain expenses that are brought about by certain illnesses. So you have the opportunity to light a fire under your book of business or potential book of business for folks that you visited with that aren't with you as a client yet. The system does also come with switcher tags, so you're aware of the population that may be susceptible to a change, and that might be reinforced by keeping them by just talking about the benefits you have with these ancillary programs. Lead Center comes as part of it. We're going to talk about that in a bit, but you'll also have Learning Center resources available to help you be better at what we're doing. Person raises their hand, we get them the information. How good are we at converting that lead to a sale? This information can help us be better at that. And I don't care how long you've been in the business, never hurts to learn, never hurts to see another angle as to how we can do that. This is all available in a mobile application as well. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this slide, well, to quote a quasi TV personality, it's free. No cost to it for agents that contract with us or one of our Integrity Platform partners. It gives us access to a cross-selling tool as well through the CSG contracting, or pardon me, quoting system. As we look at it, well, gee, we've got information here on hospital indemnity and dental programs. So it gives us the opportunity to open up a discussion and show how we can plug holes in their current coverage, particularly if we're in a household and they have a plan that they just need a reinforcement to say, hey, you got the best deal. Occasionally that happens. But in each of those plans, they may have a hospital copayment that you can handle with a HIP, or quite possibly, since cancer and other critical illness programs are one of the reasons they're in the hospital to begin with, well, that creates a discussion on CI programs, on critical illness programs. And it gives us then the opportunity to submit clean applications by information that's already in the system. You're going to do all that through Premier Marketing, in our eyes and our hopes anyway, through a number of ways that we can help you with your business. And that includes contracting electronically. When we look at that listing of carriers that are available for critical illness and cancer plans, this is a great way to do it. You've created an agent profile within that system, and if it's not already a part of a contract that you've already got in place, it's a way to do it quickly and efficiently, all electronically. We also offer discounted E&O to qualified agents. What makes you a qualified agent? You get a policy with us. And that is a policy you own. It is not a system where you're being added to a blankety oh for one plan and you got to look for coverages elsewhere. You own this and it'll cover you with regardless whom you contract with. Regardless whom you contract through. I don't know how I'm dangling my participles today, but you look at it, Premier's huge. We have a huge portfolio. We're in all 50 states. Do we have every program in every state with every carrier? No. I don't know of anybody that does. It, however, gives you the opportunity to satisfy that contracting requirement you have with carriers because you own the coverage. We do offer discounted continuing education through our association with WebCE to make certain that your license stays in play. And you can add to your own benefit package through a modified guarantee issue disability income program, in which you're paid a commission upon yourself as well. You're responsible for your own benefit structure, your benefit packages. It's a great way to protect your ability to earn. Much as where I said this presentation is being recorded and will be available on the internet, past presentations have been as well. So you have access to past presentations through our website and through our YouTube channel. This gives us the opportunity to access these 24/7 and make use of the techniques that are put into play with these different presentations on approaching faith-based organizations or working with providers. Some of the things that differentiate you from your competition in the field. These programs are many times backed with incentive programs. And if you do so much business with a particular carrier, they're going to give you some additional marketing dollars or incentives to do their business. That may well help you qualify for their trips and will help you qualify for Premier incentive programs as well. In addition to our direct mail subsidy that comes with these productions, it gives you an opportunity to qualify for our producers convention that is back after that hiatus brought about by the pandemic. Great way for you to have an additional way of working with your contracting hierarchy and having a great time. Riviera Maya, I understand it's gorgeous. A great way for you to qualify for that. Once again, cannot overvalue the access to Medicare Center and everything that comes with it, but we also want to put in play for you different ways of getting in front of people. And that includes contact lists that can be ordered for you based on your relationship with us, can be low or no cost. That contact list butted up against do not call. It's there for you. Keep in mind, we need specific parameters as to what you're looking for in the list so we can make certain that it's butted up against do not call and we deliver upon that as we can. We also want to make certain that you're adept at maximizing the value of other centers of influence in your community. So if you worked retail marketing, how can you then fold in CI programs, critical illness programs? That is a follow-up to these retail opportunities. And many folks think that, well, gee, John, it's after open enrollment period. Those are done. If they are, it's because you say they are, because you should stay in contact with the point people in those different locations because it's a year-round opportunity. And it becomes also a program that we can visit with for folks in faith-based organizations as a presentation piece, be it live or electronically for these organizations, because many of them will have a population that's been affected by cancer or heart attack, stroke, and want to learn about additional ways to cover those expenses in addition to the dollars that they have available through medical coverages. Approaching different providers with these also enlightens that delivery system as to, hey, they got dollars coming in. I can do what I need to do to treat this patient and make certain that I receive recompense as well. There are different opportunities with different carriers through generated prospects that they have. This is a quid pro quo situation where that individual works with a carrier helps them. So you're working back and forth, and it gives you additional folks to speak to on all the products that you offer. We do have internet lead sources, direct mail support. I'll talk about Lead Center in detail in a moment, a T65 locator, and a referral tool. We look at the direct mail pieces. We're looking at programs that drive down the cost of a mail campaign that you direct. And it's available through these lead programs. So if you sell 10 applications, that's basically 2.5 apps a week on critical illness alone, you got the maximum subsidy right there. We're not talking about, are you selling med subs or some of the other programs that come into play, dental or whatever it happens to be. There's also a mail program for those that are involved in final expense that can drive down these costs as well. And so we want to make certain that we're helping you with the cost of these programs, because you're working through preferred lead vendors that are marketing through programs they know are effective, that we vetted on the mail that goes out. They have systems to make certain that you get those leads as quickly as possible. And it gives you then the opportunity to be consistent with this, because direct mail is kind of like exercise. You do it once, you might feel good about yourself or feel bad about yourself, but you don't necessarily see a huge difference. Do it consistently, that's where you can see the real payoff come into play. We also have other programs that can help you plug holes in your calendar. This particular program deals with never distributed direct mail responses. So these are folks that have raised their hand through direct mail that you have an opportunity to purchase. The cost will vary from time of year to area, all things else, but right now there's a sale going on. So it's a great way for you to have people to speak to that have expressed interest in the programs that you offer, because you're purchasing a lead on a program that you offer. Lead Center. This comes as part of the Medicare Center program, where you can turn on and off lead flow within this system as well, either a direct live transfer or information embedded in your CRM that you access. It's all in there anyway, but it's a great way for you that if you aren't doing a live transfer, that's where you locate this information. You control the monies you want to spend. You control how you receive these leads. I only want 3 a day, even though I paid for 10, to make certain that you don't get behind in follow-up. Because let's face it, a lead is an expense until you've addressed it and consummated the deal. That's where the monies come into play. So we want to make certain that you not only have access to the lead, but quick access to it. And as I mentioned earlier, through the Learning Center resources, additional help in closing that lead. One of the internet programs we have is a program through a vendor that speaks to Facebook leads. There's programs in play for final expense and for Medicare. As I mentioned just a moment ago, it's important that you realize that this is a quick way of getting in front of people, a microwave situation, so to speak. They raise their hand looking for information. When they do so, they may be asking additional people for that information through other lead programs. So we want to make certain that we follow up with their expectation of responding quickly. And that's because, hey, they got a number of people that are out there wanting to visit with them. And as one of my friends said, she got a lead came in at 2 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. When she contacted them, they'd already gone someplace else. So we want to make certain that we're delivering upon the information they need quickly in as timely a fashion as possible. We have also brought on a new internet lead program that deals with folks that are responding because of search engine optimization activity that is driving these responses in different areas. Detail on this is made available through your marketer with Premier as well. That T65 Locator, well, it's a program you download to your smartphone or smart device. They find out, yeah, you got a contract with us. It's available to you then without cost. You can set up parameters to find out where people live. Big Brother is out there already. George Orwell is just off by a few years. But this can be very helpful for those folks that door knock for different programs. And let's face it, you can door knock for critical illness plans, heart attack, cancer plans. It's a topic that isn't broached much during door knocking activities. Compliant because, hey, it's different type of oversight than it is for the Medicare business. So if you're in an area, you stacked appointments, one cancels, it's a great way for you to fill that time slot with an opportunity to sell. That referral program that I mentioned, it deals not only with maximizing the value of one lead through the sales process, prospecting process, but also a way to go back and engage your book of business. Remember that CRM I've mentioned a few times? Go back and visit with them about, hey, I've got a new program. I've got a program that's come available to me for folks in your area that deal with people that have had cardiovascular problems, have had dealings with heart attacks and strokes, and the people that have actually dealt with those circumstances. Who do you know within your circle of acquaintances that could benefit with additional coverages in that area? Many times that little moment of silence is followed up with, well, hey, what about me? Great way to keep your book involved as well. We do all this because we want your business. We want to be referable to you, and these programs can be put into play really quickly. Remember that the electronic contracting process expedites that. Once that's done, you don't have certification you have to do. Obviously, it doesn't hurt to study and know the plans and know some of the statistics that will urge people to take out this coverage, but it's something you can put in play really quickly. There's no reason to procrastinate. It can make a huge difference in your personal marketing plan the remainder of this first quarter and through the rest of the year. So we do all this to come to this final conclusion. You want to look and see if there are any questions that I didn't cover? Nope, we're okay. So at this point in time, it's thank you time. For those of you that are active with Premier Marketing, doing business with us, I thank you for that business. We hope to enrich that relationship through additional programs like what we're discussing today. For those of you that are tuning in to look at, well, hey, what's Premier Marketing got to offer? I thank you for that opportunity. I look forward to doing business with you in the very near future. But for everyone that's viewed or is viewing this presentation, I thank you for the investment of your most valuable resource, and that is your time. We truly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you in this fashion. And until we are able to speak with you once again, hopefully in the very near future, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much. We'll talk to you soon.